as soon as we got in here. Class was never that way. What a great class this morning. Well, I'm very glad to see all of you here this morning. It's a good turnout, and we're very excited to have Dr. Larry Dietz here with us this morning. I would like to share with you briefly what our format will be. Dr. Dietz will make a brief presentation this morning, and then we will follow that up with question and answer period, questions that were turned in by the various constituent groups on the Search Advisory Committee, and then, the time permitting at the end, there may be a few questions from the floor permitted. There's also an evaluation form available when you're coming in the door. Please fill that out, turn it in at the end of the session, or if you're interested, you may hold it till tomorrow and turn it in following tomorrow's session. At this time, I would like to recognize the members of the Presidential Search Advisory Committee. If they would please stand and be recognized. Thank you for your service to the university. It's much appreciated. I would also like to recognize the Board of Governors members that are with us this morning. I know there are a few here. It is my sincere pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Larry Dietz, the Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs for Southern Illinois University, Carbondale. Dr. Dietz's credentials are available on the website, and I'm sure most of you have looked at that already, so I don't want to belabor the point, but I would like to just briefly highlight some of his credentials. Dr. Dietz earned his Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from SIU Carbondale, his Master's of Science in College Student Personnel, and his PhD in Professional Studies in Higher Education Administration from Iowa State University. He has served Southern Illinois University Carbondale since April of 2000 as the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and Special Assistant to the Chancellor, and Associate Professor of Educational Administration and Higher Education. Previously, he served the University of Missouri-Kansas City as the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management. Before moving to Missouri, Dr. Dietz held numerous positions in financial aid administration and the Office of the Vice President for Student Affairs at Iowa State University. His career has been in service to public universities for the last 25 years at a senior level and the last 12 years at the cabinet level. He supervises 15 departments, a budget of $70 million, and a staff of over 500. He has the responsibility for SIU's Nakaho, Japan campus, and through the International Programs and Services Office coordinates the institutional's international agenda. Dr. Dietz has experience in teaching, scholarship, international programs, and fundraising, but most importantly, in serving students. Dr. Dietz.
Thank you very much. I'm absolutely delighted to be here, and I appreciate the invitation. I enjoyed my conversation that happened in Kansas City not terribly long ago, and very much enjoyed a visit that my wife and I took to this campus that same weekend. I didn't want to be presumptuous and announce at all that we were going to be walking the campus. We came down in some jeans and a sweatshirt, a nondescript sweatshirt, and met some students and some staff who I know that they didn't think that we were prospective students here, but they were very kind, and they were great salespeople for this university. And that was the impression that I was left with, both in the interview and also on that visit to the campus. Had a great time last night with the Board of Governors, met several groups this morning, and I want to say how much we appreciate your hospitality and how much we appreciate your being here today to be a part of this important meeting. I want to, first of all, introduce my wife. Marlene Dietz is right down here. Marlene, would you stand and wave at the folks? Marlene has her own business and is an accomplished business person herself, and she's made time out of a busy schedule to be with me, and I appreciate that very much. We're a bit of a team. We've worked that way for a long period of time, both at the university and she's my helpmate, and we do these things together, so I'm glad that you're here. Thanks for being here. It may sound a little interesting. I was asked to, as a part of this public forum, to talk a bit about my background and my experience and my interest in this position. And it seems a little interesting to script yourself on something that you have lived. But the reason I've done this a little bit is that I was also told to stay within a time frame, and so I'm going to try to do that. Let me talk a little bit about my background and experience and interest, but let me also talk about the interest first. I was nominated for this position by a mentor of mine, good friend and colleague, and professional colleague who's been a supporter for many years. And after I was nominated, I was contacted by the person that was hired to help with this search. And then I began to do some research on University of Central Missouri. And that was really a terrific opportunity to take a look at what is out there publicly that describes this institution. And one of the things that became very clear early on is that the motto of this university that really began in 1907 of educating for service is something that really speaks to my heart. This is something that is very important to me, the aspect of service. I consider service to be a terrific high calling, and to educate people in those areas, whether it's educating teachers or people who are in business and industry, or individuals who are in public service, working for not-for-profits, whatever it might be. We're all serving each other, and we'll continue to do that throughout our work life and beyond. So I think that's a very high aspiration and something that meets my own values. Also, the values that this institution represents. I spent a good deal of time reading over the values that you have. And when I first became a Vice Chancellor at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, in my first 6 months on the job, I said we need to define as a division what our values are. And we spent a good deal of time talking about that. My sense is that once we agree on common values and a common direction, that we can accomplish just about anything as a community of scholars and a community of staff and students. So the value aspect was very important. The learning, service, excellence, responsibility, adaptability, diversity, and community are all things that I hold dear and very important. Frankly, I'm not interested in being a president of any university anywhere. I've not applied for presidential positions as a regular part of my being. What I am interested, however, in being a president in the right place where I feel like I'm a fit and where the institution feels like that I'm a fit. And I think, frankly, the value aspect of that is a great place to start. So I perceive the fit to be there, and it remains to be seen as to whether or not you do. But that was another important aspect that stimulated my interest in this position. I'm also interested in making a contribution and making a difference. We all have rent to pay or mortgages to pay and food to put on the table and so on and so forth. But I think all of us have selected education for a particular reason. And I think that particular reason is that we want to make a difference in the lives of other people, just as other people who represented a university made a difference in our lives. I'm a product of that entire enterprise. I grew up on a dairy farm with modest means, and education changed my life, and it changed the lives of all members of my family because of that. So it's easy for me to be passionate about education. All I have to do is reflect on my own experience. And while there are early mornings and late evenings in this kind of work, if you're passionate about what you do and you believe in your product, then the day goes a lot quicker. And so I'm interested in continuing to make a difference, and I think I can do that as the president of the University of Central Missouri.